Welcome to the Dafcast. I'm Chaim Weitzner here with Rabbi Russak. We are learning Zevachim, Maseches Zevachim. Base. No, it's okay. We are learning Maseches Zevachim, Daf Base Amud Aleph, the first mishnah.
Okay, Chaim, we begin Be'ezus Hashem, Maseches Zevachim, and the mishnah begins, Kol HaZevachim, all karbanis in the Beis HaMikdash, shenizbechu, that was shechted. One of the avodas in the Beis HaMikdash is shchita. It was shechted shaloi lishman, not for the carbon. The Torah requires, the Gemara will bring later, that if you're bringing whatever carbon, a oila, a chatas, a shlamim, that in our mind we are thinking, oila, I'm bringing it for a carbon oila. Shlamim, I'm bringing it for a shlamim. Chatas, I'm aware that I'm bringing it for a chatas. The question arises, what happens if while I'm bringing oila, my mind wanders, like sometimes happens in Shemon Esrei, we wander, and my mind forgets that I'm bringing oila, and I somehow thinking about a shlamim. So that's kol hazvachim shenizbechu shaloi lishman. It was shechted not for the oila, it was for some other carbon. Says the mishnah ksherim, the carbon is kosher. You don't have to take that carbon and throw it in the garbage. It's kosher. You continue the process. All the different avodas, you accept the blood, you sprinkle it on the mizbeach, you brought a carbon. But a very important point. It doesn't work to fulfill the obligation for the owner that he brought his obligation. We know somebody makes an obligation, promises a neder that he's going to, let's say in Shul, give $50 for his aliyah. So he has an obligation to send the Shul the $50. Right. Once he sent the $50, he fulfilled his pledge. His neder is done. Same thing as we go to Beis HaMikdash, and I pledge to give an oila. So if I bring an oila, I fulfilled my pledge. If I brought an oila and I thought about a shlamim, you gave a carbon to the Beis HaMikdash, but your pledge wasn't fulfilled. You have to go ahead and bring another carbon oila. Mm-hmm. So there's two aspects. Is the carbon good? And after the carbon is good, did I fulfill my obligation and pledge?
So you're saying good. What does good mean? What's the definition of good?
Is this carbon carbon?
Doesn't have a mum?
Let's say I would bring a carbon. That would be
checked correctly.
A beautiful example. Let's say a guy would bring a carbon and he opens it up and there's a mum. Mm-hmm. Is that carbon good?
No.
No. What do you do with that carbon? There'll be halachas. Burn it. Get rid of it.
We'll discuss it later. But good means? Good
means that it's a kosher carbon.
Okay.
All right. So ksherim, it's a kosher carbon. Right, again, kol hazvachim shenizbechu shaloi lishman. It was shechted not for that carbon that you're bringing. Ksherim, it's a kosher carbon. Ela but shalei alu lebaylim l'shem chayva. It didn't work for the owner to fulfill his obligation. He has to go ahead and bring another one. Mm-hmm. Says the Mishnah continues, chutz min ha-pesach v'hachatas. Besides for two karbonis, carbon Pesach, the famous carbon Pesach, we have to bring every Yid has to bring if there's a Beis HaMikdash on the night of Erev Pesach, and a chatas comes for chas v'sholem. Let's say we were machal Shabbos b'shaygig, we forgot it was Shabbos, or we forgot a malacha, we have to bring a chatas. Right. In those cases, is if somebody, when he's bringing a carbon Pesach, he's thinking about another carbon, there it messes up the carbon. The carbon is garbage. Mm-hmm. It ruins, it's like a mum. A chatas, if somebody while he's bringing a chatas is thinking about another carbon, not only didn't he fulfill his obligation, it even ruins the carbon.
Right. Okay.
So again, the two carbonis that are chamor, that are, if we don't have the kavana, messes it up. Chaim, what are the two? Is
Pesach and chatas.
Beautiful. Pesach and chatas. Now, the Mishnah just adds, Pesach bizmanoi. When I designate a carbon Pesach, it only has a din of a Pesach on Erev Pesach. If let's say I designated a carbon Pesach, and I lost that animal, I can't find it, and I designated another Pesach. So, and then the next day somebody says, is this your animal? What is the name of that carbon now? Pesach? Is it?
It's a kachim, but it's not.
So it turns into, interesting, that carbon Pesach after Pesach turns into a shlamim.
Okay.
And once it's a shlamim, now I bring it as a shlamim, and if I have the wrong, if I think about another carbon, it's this first halach, it's kosher, but it's kosher.
Okay, that's a complicated.
Okay.
Complicated example to bring a carbon Pesach. You designate it, right? You tie a ribbon around it or something like that, a collar, something like that, and you lose it somehow, and you bring another one.
And then the next day,
and then you find it after Pesach, and you have to bring it. And
Chaim.
Maybe it's a good example. I don't know.
I have on my phone a neighbor called me about a week ago. She lost her cat.
Mm-hmm.
If I saw her cat.
Right.
And then she called me back. It was Shabbos. I didn't pick up the phone. And then she left me a message. My message Shabbos is, it's okay, I found the cat.
Right, okay.
So I apologize that it's, but it happens. You have an animal. Animals have
Animals wander off, right?
They wander off. So that would be an example where you lost your Pesach. So Bismanoi, you have to have the Kavanah, it's Ma'akev. Shalei Bismanoi Shlamim, it's kosher. But it doesn't
work.
What
does Ma'akev mean?
Ma'akev means it's absolutely needed.
Ma'akev is absolutely needed, okay.
If you don't have it, it ruins it.
If you don't have it, it ruins it. Okay.
It's got to be that way.
Okay.
Right, if, can we think of an example where it has to be that way? No, it's fine, it has to be that way. Ma'akev.
If you're using terms I don't understand, we need to translate them, that's all.
Fine. V'achatos b'chol zman. And a carbon chatos, a carbon that's brought to rectify our averis, which we did with Shoigig.
Anytime you bring it,
has
to be chatos.
The kavana, when you bring it, has to be brought l'shem chatos.
Mm-hmm.
If we have in mind for another carbon, it
doesn't work. Okay. Rashi.
Says Rashi, Kol Zevachim shenizbechu sheloi lishman. Says Rashi, an example. Shenishchat oila l'shem shlamim. While he was shechting a carbon ola, right? He was thinking l'shem shlamim. He was thinking about a carbon shlamim.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to go through the difference in oil and shlamim?
Not yet.
Okay, not yet. No. Okay. Ksherim. So Rashi is explaining, what does it mean it's kosher? That's kind of the question Rabbi Chaim was asking. Lizroik damam, says Rashi, you could take the blood and continue to sprinkle it on the Mizbeach. We will, through Zevachim, we're going to learn in Mitzvah Shem that there are a few avodas that you have to do with a carbon. One of them is sprinkling the blood on the Mizbeach.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are going to go up, some are going to go down. With those, that's a lot. They'll be later in the Masechta. But Rashi thinks Shel, what means kosher? You just shechted it. Continue. You could go ahead and sprinkle the blood, ulahaktirei mureyim, and then the leftover pieces you put it on the mizbeach. Right? When you take the pieces that give it to Hashem, where do you put it?
Mm-hmm. On the mizbeach.
Okay. And also the lechoel esanacholim. Certain karbanis, either the kohanim are going to eat the meat, or the owner is going to eat. And there's actually, interesting, there's a mitzvah to eat the meat.
Mm-hmm.
Those animals that are eat. So you can continue with this process of the carbon. Move forward. Sprinkle the blood, put the parts on the mizbeach, the parts that are eaten, lecheles and acholim. Afal pi, even though even though there is a mitzvah, kediyolef b'gemara. The Gemara is going to bring later on a pasuk that there is a mitzvah to shecht a carbon. When you bring a carbon ola, let's say, you to think of a Chaim what? An ola. And when you bring a shlamim, you should think of a shlamim. That's a mitzvah. Somebody who didn't do the mitzvah didn't mess up the carbon, so it's saying over here it didn't mess up. Kshera means it didn't mess it up. It means he missed the mitzvah. I don't know if offhand I can think of, there's many times there's a mitzvah to do something, and sometimes you don't have it, you didn't do the mitzvah perfectly,
right?
But it's a mitzvah, it works.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of makos, which brings examples of you did something wrong, but you don't need to get makos, which are the court whips you. There's a way to fix what you're doing. So it's kind of like...
I'll give you an example.
That's what I thought you were saying.
No, I'll give you an example. There's a famous Gemara in Masechim. The Gemara says, Kol shalei omar gimel dvarim v'Pesach. If you don't say these three things by your seder, Pesach,
you haven't done
Mat, Lechavasa. He says, some learn, doesn't mean you didn't get your mitzvah at all. You didn't do the mitzvah complete. There are certain parts, such a lashon, that you did the mitzvah, but you didn't get the full mitzvah. Same thing over here. Sometimes if a guy goes and instead of an esrog, he takes a lemon, so he didn't get a mitzvah at all. If you take an esrog and some of the bumps are maybe not as bumpy or whatever, let's say there's a certain hidur, so it's an esrog, but it's not a mohudah to get esrog, it is. So that's what the mishnah, that's what Rashi is learning.
Okay.
Again, so even though there's a mitzvah to shechted for that carbon, as we'll see in the Gemara, but still it's kosher.
Okay.
Ella, but then we had a point, says Rashi continues, Ella shalei alu v'chulu l'bailim. It doesn't work for the bailim. What does that mean? Says Rashi, v'tzarech lahavi acher. So you need to bring another carbon l'chayvasai to fulfill the obligation. Or if a person made a neder. Sometimes we have to bring a carbon. Chas v'shalom, we did an aveira, so we have to bring, whether we made a neder or not, we have to bring a carbon. If on Shabbos, chas v'shalom, I forgot it was Shabbos, and I went out and I mowed my lawn. So and then the guy said, Shabbos. Oh man, I forgot it was Shabbos. Whether I make the obligation or not, chatas clicks in. I got to go to the Beis HaMikdash and bring a chatas. Sometimes you can have on my own will. I say, you know what? I want to bring a carbon ola.
Just in case.
No. Chatas is to fix an aveira. An ola is a nice thing. You feel you want to.
A carbon toda is a carbon ola, right?
Toida. No, because a toida I think you eat. Ola is a complete offering. You could just decide one day. So you know what? I want to go up to the Beis HaMikdash today, and I want to bring Hashem a carbon. Feeling good.
Carbon ola just can be for anything.
Yeah, it's a neder.
It's a neder.
It's like I want to give a guy walks in the shul. I would like to give $50 to the shul.
Oh, okay. A neder.
And sometimes you have, it's coming Rosh Hashanah, and you want a seat. If you don't send $200, you're not getting your seat.
Right.
That is called an obligation. And then you can have a guy who, I gave $200 for the seat, but you know what? I want to add another $50 to the shul.
Okay.
So same thing in the Beis HaMikdash. There are times where we have to bring a carbon Pesach. We have to bring a carbon Pesach.
Right.
It's Pesach. Every Jew has an obligation.
Right.
If there was a Beis HaMikdash, if we did an aveira, right, chatas, we got to bring it. But then I can have an obligation. I want to bring an oila. So Rashi is just saying over here again, we would have to bring another one. If it was a case where I have to bring, in the case of an obligation, a carbon Pesach, a chatas, those are chavasai, or in a case where I made a neder, I promised, I made it, right? How would we translate a neder? A neder is a vow, right? So a person made a vow, he has to fulfill it, and the fact that he brought a carbon and he thought about another carbon, even though it's kosher, he did not fulfill his vow. Yishchatenu lishmoi, and shech the other one lishmoi for the proper carbon.
The second one.
Yes.
Okay.
Chutz, Rashi continues, chutz mina Pesach v'chatos. Besides for Pesach and chatos, shem sulem legamri, they are totally ruined. If somebody did not have the right intention for that carbon, he thought about another carbon, in these two cases, it ruins it completely. You do not continue sprinkling the blood. You do not continue putting the pieces on the mizbeach. You don't continue to eat the pieces of meat.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do with it? You burn it. You burn it. And it's, I guess we don't call it garbage, chas v'shalom, but there was a place where they burnt all the bad karbanis.
Mm-hmm.
The Yalef Gemara, in the Gemara will teach it to us. We're not saying,
What's Yalef?
Yalef means we're going to learn it. Anytime we learn from a pasuk, there are certain times.
Yalef means to learn from a pasuk.
To learn. No, to learn. Where do we learn it
means
then?
to learn from a pasuk?
Yes. There are certain things that are logical, that sometimes comes out because of a logical point.
Right.
And there are certain points is because the Torah told us the rules.
Okay.
And we need to go to the Torah. So Rashi's saying this isn't a logical, it's not something that we'll start saying, I know why a Pesach, and I know why an Oila. No, don't start thinking. It's a pasuk. Continue learning. It's a pasuk. We'll get to that pasuk. We should have patience. And if we tune in further, we'll get to it, to the pasuk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Pesach was mano.
Continue? Okay.
Pesach was mano, yeah.
Now, a Pesach, now we said that a Pesach has to be brought for a Pesach. So Pesach bezmanoi, says Rashi, pasul shaloi lishmoi. It's pasul when you shechted it for a different, when you brought the avodah not for that carbon. When kolzman shchitasai, the whole time frame of when you're supposed to shecht. When is the mitzvah of shechting carbon Pesach? The hainu mechatzois hayoim shel erev Pesach. The mitzvah of shechting carbon Pesach starts from the midday of erev Pesach ad ha'erev till the evening. Aval koydem lachein. But if somebody went and he shechted it before chatzos, or va'achar mikein, or after the evening, kaimelon, we have a big rule. Rashi says coming up later on Daf Ches Amud Beis. The Pesach b'shar yemois hashana, a carbon Pesach, the rest of the year turns into shlamim, a carbon shlamim. Who? The chol dinei shlamim. It has all the dinim of shlamim. From Minol, and we said already before, the shar Zevachim, that other karbanos, ksherim shalei lishman. It's kosher if you do it not for that carbon. So it's very interesting then, Rabbi Chaim. I have a carbon, from a time frame, it like changes its status.
Right.
It's like Cinderella carbon, from at 12 o'clock.
Midnight.
Right? And it starts from midday, from chatzais.
Right.
See, they take everything from us. So, right? They, all of a sudden, this carbon Pesach, a Cinderella carbon Pesach, nicely all covered, hits Erev, the glass slipper is over, and it turns into what?
Shlamim.
Shlamim. Very interesting. And the halachas change.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
But Gemara
And the Gemara is going to learn from, so again, these are not logical on our own if the Torah didn't teach us. Yalef, right, that's the word.
Yalef means to learn from a pasuk.
Chaim, we got the word.
Here we go.
We got a big word, Yalef. Yalef means to
learn from a
learn,
pasuk.
beautiful. Mikrai from pasuk. Okay, should we continue further?
If you want to take a break, we'll take a break.
Oh, we'll take a break over here.
Okay. Stretch. How's it going so far? Good.
Yeah. What do you? Yeah.
It's good. I didn't realize how long this mishnah is.
Okay.
I thought the mishnah was over here. It goes down all the way to the Gemara. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. The Mishnah continues. This was the Shita that we just gave over, the Shita of the Tanakama. The word Tanakama always means the first Tana, the first rabbi in the Mishnah is always called Tanakama. We know that many Mishnayos have arguments, different opinions. And it's okay to have different opinions. That is part of learning, is having different opinions. So we'll sometimes have a mishnah with different opinions. One Tana holds like this, the other Tana holds like this, and another Tana, sometimes it gives us their names, and sometimes Rabbi Yehuda, who wrote the mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, sometimes gives us the name, sometimes he doesn't give us the name. So, do you see a name on the first shita? What we just learned? So we don't. What do you do if you don't see a name? What do we call him?
Tana Kama.
Tana. What is it? Let's translate that word.
Tana is a teacher of the Mishnah as opposed to the Gemara. The Mishnah was teachers up until 200 AD, CE, and the Gemara was 200 to 500 CE in Yerushalayim, but also in Bavel and Babylon.
Very good. And so Tana is that teacher. Kama means the first.
Right.
Like we have Maseches Kama, the first
gate.
The first, it was broken up into 3 tractates. So the first one, okay. So the Tana Kama holds what we just learned. Let's see what Rabbi Eliezer has to say on what we just learned. Rabbi Eliezer Oimer, Afa Asham. I'm going to bring another carbon to the table here that has this strictness that if it isn't brought for that carbon, it becomes ruined. Till now, how many carbonas, Chaim, did we have? It becomes ruined?
2.
What did it do?
Pesach and Chatas.
Chatas. Rabbi Eliezer gives us another one, a third one.
Okay.
And which one is it? Af ha'asham.
Asham.
Ha'asham comes for a certain Avera. There are certain times when we do certain, in the Torah, certain cases that brings an asham, called an asham. So he brings, we'll get to it through the Masechta, all the different carbonas, but there is a carbon. Till now we were talking about oila, a chatas, now we're talking about an asham, a third carbon. Rabbi Eliezer is introducing that this asham also has the stringency that if it isn't brought for an asham, it gets ruined. Okay? So, ha-Pesach bizmanoi, so his list, according to Rabbi Eliezer, it's Pesach in the time frame. What did Rashi tell us the time frame of Pesach? Chaim is starting from
which is noon of the day up until evening.
Of Erev Pesach, very good, till the night of Pesach.
So midday, which is not 12 noon, it's a different calendar, a different way of measuring the hours. Through what? Shkia?
Shkia or Tzeis, whatever.
Tzeis Kochavim. So Shkia is sunset. Tzeis Kochavim means the stars have come out, which is like an hour later.
Okay, so Rabbi is saying either Asham, Pesach Bizmanoi, V'chatos v'Asham b'chol zman. The Chatos and the Asham are any given day. Every regular Tuesday. I got a great. You want to? We have stuff for a cute story?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a great story. This happened yesterday. My wife is working in a store, and this lady comes in and wants to buy a piece of jewelry. And she says, and she really speaks a little bit Yiddish, but she was trying to translate it in English. She said, I'm looking for a piece of jewelry for a green Tuesday.
A green Tuesday.
I guess in Yiddish it's called a green Dienstag. A regular day, they call it like a green day. So if somebody comes into the store and says, I want a piece of jewelry for a green day, my wife was thinking, a green, I'd never heard that, a green day. So she figures you buy a little, gives a little thing.
Emerald.
A little, something like, not expensive.
No, give her an emerald, it's green.
But a green Tuesday, she wants it for a regular day.
She understood that?
She said something like it's a regular day. So
the word we use is chap.
So she was so as a salesperson, you want to try to sell the best, try to sell whatever, the most expensive. Right. But if something was a regular day, so she was showing regular stuff. Then the other sales lady jabs her like, why? Like, show her something nicer. Then she ends up seeing the other sales lady pulls out things that are more expensive for her and said, And she says, but she said she wants it for a regular day. No, she wants a regular day that she's going to bar mitzvah. She wants it for a regular day that she's going to a wedding. So the green Tuesday is not her Tuesday green, it's just that,
Oh.
So here's a regular day. But we just thought about this now.
Every day is a simcha.
Every day is a green. See, there's a new saying called the Green Tuesday. So they come in on a Green Tuesday. No, anyway, a Pesach bismanoi chatas va'asham b'chol zman. The Pesach and the asham on a Green Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
A regular day, Tuesday. If you bring a chatas and an asham, it has to be brought for that carbon.
Mm-hmm.
A Pesach is not on a Green Tuesday.
No.
It's only on a Erev Pesach. It's only a specific time, a special day.
Oh, okay.
Can we use that word Green Tuesday?
Why not?
All right, so we're going to start using the Green Tuesday.
Oh, if
Fine.
you want to, yeah, sure, yeah.
All right. Amar Rabbi Lazar. Says Rabbi Lazar, and he's explaining himself because we have an argument on the table. So Rabbi Lazar explaining himself why he introduced, which carbon did he introduce?
Asham.
Asham. So Rabbi Lazar is explaining why did I bring the Asham to the list that it's severe, that it has to be brought Lishma, and if it isn't Lishma, it's going to get ruined. All right, so let's hear Rabbi Lazar explaining himself. He says, Achatos bo'al chet. The Chatos, now it seems, Reb Chaim, that the Torah, if I look in the Torah itself, I'm only going to find it about Chatas. The Asham is logic. And the question is, they're arguing, logic, does Asham fit into the Chatas or not?
Okay.
So Rabbi Lezer is using logic to compare Asham to be like the Chatas. Just like the Chatas needs to be Lishma. And if it isn't Lishma, it gets ruined. Logic now will say that Asham should have the same din. Let's see his logic. Okay? Because till now, Yolif, we had the word, it's in the Torah, it's in the Torah, it's in the Torah.
There's a pasuk, correct, there's a verse.
So we don't need to explain, if it's in the Torah, then you don't have to explain it logically. So he's using here logic, is the argument of Asham, bringing an Asham to the table, that you need to do it Lishma. And if you don't, it ruins it. It'll be a logical argument. So he's explaining himself. Amar Balazar, hachatas bo'al chet. What is the point of a carbon chatas? What is it? Why would a person, if you saw a person in the Beis Hamikdash, he's online with his carbon,
Right.
and you ask him, what type of carbon are you bringing? And he says, it's a chatas. What will that equal in your head? Why is he here?
So,
What
what I think I remember is that there's a list of averas, sins, that you need to bring a chatas for.
Very good.
So, like you keep bringing an example, if you did something wrong on Shabbos, right? So with Shabbos, I was going to explain, there are two examples. One is you didn't know you can't do it, right? The word is malacha, the word is work. So a malacha would be lighting a fire. You're not allowed to turn on a light. You're not allowed to start a car and drive on Shabbos. These are fires. And there are 39 categories of these malachas, of work, types of work, I should say, categories of work. And so one is if you're doing a malacha and you didn't realize it was a malacha, that's number one. You bring a chatas.
Excellent.
You bring a chatas. Number two is you forgot it was Shabbos. So the classic example for that is that you walk into your room and you turn the light on or you turn the light off and you go, oops, I thought it was Tuesday, I forgot that it's Shabbos. So those are the two examples. You're doing a malacha.
You think the malacha is...
And you think that whatever you're doing, you think you're allowed to do, and you're not. And you find out later you're not. Or you forgot it's Shabbos and you did something
Excellent,
that you know
excellent. Fine.
Those are the two
So that would be an example
categories of
bringing a
Shabbos.
chatas.
But Shabbos is just one example of when you have to bring a chatas.
Right. So Rabbi Lezer is saying, a guy who's online with a chatas, what the point of that carbon is to fix a chet, an avera. Asham is also to fix certain averas. The Torah has a list when it is a chatas, when it's an asham. We will get to it. But
Right.
asham comes for an avera. But other karbanis, a shlamim, doesn't come because of Aveira. There could be somebody, like you mentioned, if Hashem saves a person, a toida is a shlamim. A guy wants to give a nice thing to the Beis HaMikdash, an oila. So if you hear the word oila, shlamim, he didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
You hear the word chatas, so he's here to fix.
Right.
You hear the word asham, it's also here to
fix. Right. Okay.
So that's what Elazar is saying. A chatas ba'al chet. The chatas is coming for an aveira. But asham ba'al chet. Asham is also coming for an aveira. Ma chatas psula shloi lishma. Just like when somebody's bringing a chatas to fix his aveira. It ruins the carbon. Shloi lishma. When it isn't for that carbon, afa asham, so also an asham, pasal, shalei lishmai. It ruins it.
Let's pause and turn your phone off.
Okay.
Yeah. Turn your phone off or silence it or whatever it is.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm going to set an alarm for 3 o'clock. Or 2:55, whatever it is. Oh, it's in 10 minutes. We have to, okay.
So let me close the phone for now. I won't close. How come it's not?
Okay, so I'll put a little bit here.
Try not to stir. Okay. Fine.
Let's see if we can finish the mishnah. If not,
now it's what? It's 20 to 3, right?
2:40.
2:40. So when do you have to go?
2:40. 2:55, 3 o'clock.
Fine. Okay.
So, Rabbi Elazar, let me just summarize over here. Rabbi Elazar is making a logical comparison that since the chatas comes for a chet, an avera, and the asham also comes for a chet and an avera, if you didn't bring the chatas lishma for the purpose of a chatas, it becomes pasal. Therefore, if you bring an asham, not for the sake of an asham, it also should become, should, this is the key word, should become pasal. And that's the summary of the argument he's bringing.
Excellent.
It's a logical argument, and we'll see later there are Gezer Shavas, there are Kal B'chomers, what's the one where you're comparing one word here and one word there?
It's Gezer Shava.
Gezer Shava. Equal cut, right? So there's a word used in this pasuk over here, and there's a word used in this pasuk over here. The rabbis will say, this must be bringing the same rule because it uses the same word twice and it doesn't need to use the same word.
But here's it's just a logical. Okay. Now we're going to have a new shita. Let's introduce a different opinion.
And a shita is an opinion.
Opinion, yeah. Right. So there's Yossi ben Chayni Omer. Yossi ben Chayni. His name was Yossi, the son of
Choni.
His father's name was Chayni. Maybe the famous Chayni HaMagil. We're not going to get into that, who the Chayni HaMagil was. You have to learn Maseches Tainis. So Yossi, the son of Chayni, Omer, Hanishchotim l'shem Pesach. If, let's say you bring a carbon, till now we were learning, if somebody brings an oila, and he's having a mind for a different carbon, does it ruin the carbon? An oila?
No.
Comes along Yosef ben Chayni, he says, depends what you're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
If when you're bringing the oila, you're thinking the word Pesach, or you're thinking Chatas, the thinking of oila, of Chatas or Pesach, that ruins the oila. It means the two severe cases in the Torah that has to be perfect is the Chatas and the Pesach.
Pesach, right.
But we thought it's when they're bringing the Pesach, bringing the Chatas. Yosef ben Chayni says that if you're thinking about a Pesach or you're thinking about a Chatas, those thoughts can ruin a regular carbon oila, a non-Pesach. All right, interesting, a new shita. So let's see it inside. Yosef ben Chayni oimer, hanishchotim l'shem Pesach, u'l'shem Chatas psulim. Let's see Rashi.
So I think we left off with Rashi, Afa Asham.
All right, Afa Asham, right? Who was that? There was Rabbi Elazar said that even an Asham, Rashi says, Kibnefarish, time of Azel. As the logic is, and just keep going, interesting, and Rashi just says, Rashi's job is to explain. Rashi says, if you're looking here, just keep going. The explanations of the Gemara. Interesting is, you know the famous.
So what's he saying?
Can we stop for a joke?
I want to translate these words first. Kedim mefarish, as it will be explained.
Time, the reason.
The reason.
The ozil, and keep going.
Ah, keep going. Okay.
To explain this.
So you have a joke.
It's I think, a pretty well-known joke. How sometimes you have to go a little bit further to get the explanation. If you have a question, just continue. You might get the answer.
Right.
We ask questions. So there's a famous Gemara in Bava Kama. Right, starts the first mishnah. Arba ovos nizikin. There are 4 headings of damages. Categories. So there were 2 boys learning, and they opened the Gemara. And they said, Nuzman, and opened the Gemara. Abba avos, there are 4 fathers. And questioning back, is it 4 fathers or 3 fathers? Like, what's going on? So they go to the Rabbi, and they say, Rabbi, I have a big question. Till now, we know there's 3 fathers. There's Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And the Gemara says, there are 4 fathers. Who's the 4th father? We're thinking. So the Rabbi says, just keep going. Keep going further. Nizikin, we're not talking about our fathers, we're talking about categories.
Right.
So,
Av Malacha and Toldos Malacha. The father category, or head category, and the son or
so here also Rashi says you might
subcategory.
You might stop here and look at it in Rashi right away, like, what's going on? Rashi says, just keep going, don't look here.
Right.
Just keep going. He's going to explain himself. All right. Otherwise, it's a good question.
What's the point of these Rashis?
Right, yeah. It's a joke, but
no. What's the point of these Rashis? The first Rashi is normally the Gemara will explain.
Right. I think many times you will see Rashi kind of saying, Rashi felt himself as an explanation. It's a job that he should do to explain to you. And sometimes you're like, the Gemara is doing my job here. Or the Mishnah is doing the job that I'm supposed to be doing. Rabbi Nasi, as the generations went on, we become less and less, as we believe, is that the generations become weaker.
Weaker. Yeah.
And a lot of, you see somebody who's seasoned in a certain, let's say you see 2 doctors discussing, and you listen in, like, I don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
He says A and B and C. What should you give for this patient? Just take A and mix it with B and C, and like, what's A and what's B? You're seasoned with it, you know it.
Right.
So a lot of the explanations, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi didn't write it because he's being mean to us. It's just that he knew it was given.
He wrote the Mishnah that Rabbi Yehuda Nasi wrote down. There's a great explanation. I'm going to link to it. Rabbi Akiva Tatz. He says, when Moshe got the Torah from Mount Sinai, he got the written Torah, the 5 books of Moses, and he got a book called the Mishnah, the oral law. And the oral law explains a lot of details in the 5 books of Moses. And it was a set of rules. There were no machlekes, no arguments, no disagreements about, well, what do you mean? Like the Asham, right?
But this argument would have
been the Chadas and the Pesach. And like, no, it's also the Asham. Let me explain why. No, it's also this. The disagreements weren't there. There was just, rules and explanations of anything not clear in the 5 books of Moses, the Torah. And what happened was, Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi wrote down, people were learning the Mishnah for generations. The Gemara is 40 generations of learning from Moshe Rabbeinu to Rabba, Ravina, Rabashi, right, who wrote down the Talmud. 40 generations of learning. So what happened was, Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi took the notes, quote unquote, of the best students of the Mishnah and wrote down kind of shorthand Mishnah statements, but left a lot out. And so that's why 200 years later you had to start writing down the Gemara, because the Gemara took all these different machlekes, arguments, disagreements, and clarify them further. And then you're talking about Yehuda Hadoros, right? The generations became weaker and weaker. Then you need Rashi and the Rishonim, the other commentators who we will
help us
sprinkle in a little bit. The Rishonim, and then you also need the Achronim, and then you need Art Scroll, and you need you need the Dafcast, all these different
tools,
further explanations of basically the Mishnah, which was brought down with Moshe Rabbeinu. So that's
okay. So that right. So whatever, you have to understand this. So let's go to the next one. Haneshchotim l'shem Pesach. So that was Yossi ben Chayni, was the third shita.
right.
Right. He said if somebody shechts a carbon for a Pesach, had in mind the Pesach, the thought of Pesach ruins the carbon. Kol shar Zevachim, says Rashi, all other karbonis shenizbechu biyadalit. If it was interesting, if it's on Erev Pesach, b'Nisan l'shem Pesach. So Rashi's adding something important. If it's a green Tuesday,
this is why we're learning Rashi.
very good. If it was a green Tuesday that you're bringing Ola, and you're thinking about a Pesach, it won't ruin the carbon. The only time the Pesach thought can ruin a regular carbon is on Erev Pesach from Chatzais till the time of evening, the time frame they can bring a carbon Pesach. That's an interesting, important Rashi here. So again, Kol Shar Zevachim Shinzu Yidal B'Nisan L'Shem Pesach. Other carbonates that you bring on your Daled B'Nisan on the 14th of Nisan for Pesach. Oi, Shenizbechu L'Shem Chatas B'Chol Zman. Or you thought about a Chatas, the guy was bringing oil on a green Tuesday, and he's thinking about a Chatas any day, Psulim, it's possible. Ki Heichi, just like the Inu Psulim L'Shem Acherim, just like they are possible. Just like a carbon Pesach, we said, if you bring it for something else, gets ruined. Right? The two carbonas, everybody agreed. When I'm bringing a carbon Pesach, or I'm bringing a carbon Chatas, if I have a mind for something else, ruins it, that thought ruins other carbonas. It's a two-way street. Right? Just like the apostle L'Shem Acherim, when they're apostle for others, same way is using those carbonas for another carbon rules it. It's a double-edged sword.
Right. Okay.
Okay, and here he says not logical. It's also Yalif. Here we have the word
Learn from a pasuk.
Ta'cherim l'shem Pesach b'Raisa.
So just translate that. The
Gemara is going to learn the reason to lacherim l'shem Pesach.
What does that mean? Other
carbonis
can be kosher for Pesach?
No. Oila that I'm thinking about Pesach ruins it.
Oh, okay. In a Baraisa,
yeah.
And a Baraisa is a mishnah that was not included in the formal written down
Excellent.
mishnah, but they're brought all the time in the Gemara.
Excellent. Right. Anything from a Tana era that didn't make it into the mishnah, but is called a Baraisa.
And the Tana is up until 200 CE.
Very good.
Okay.
Okay, we got one more sheet to go.
Do one more?
Want to get one more?
What time is it? 2:53. Yeah.
Okay, let's get one more. Shimon Achi Azariah, very interesting name. This is just a very nice point. We'll see. Shimon, there was a person named Shimon, the brother of Azariah. Usually when we bring in a Tana to the table, we say him in the name of his father. We give credit because there's a mitzvah to learn with our children. So most likely when
that's why it's
you say him ben
Shimon ben Gamliel and Yochanan ben Zakkai and whatever.
He's getting his source of his Torah
from his father.
So we credit the father.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Here we have
we always hear there are no last names, right? And so I learned that also no last names in Europe till 1800s. And
Right. But if we relate to
it's
the
Kibbut
Gemara says
Avayim. Wow.
Kibbut Avayim, and it's
Wow,
probably,
wow.
I would think, is the Torah. Every child's Torah came from his V'lamadatem Oisam Es B'nechem.
Oh wow,
should
that's
learn
why.
with our
That's
children.
why. Okay.
So when we learn with our children, his Torah is considered our Torah.
Wow.
So, Chaim over here, whatever Torah, if we're
8
learning.
years of learning. I never heard that before. You know that?
Okay. So that itself is worth to be here. And I don't know if I ever pondered that to this level.
Right.
So,
This is why the Dafcast exists.
okay, Baruch Hashem. And again, whatever you learn with the Charusa yourself, you'll always find. There's a famous saying, Ein beis medrash b'li chiddush. There's never a time that we sit down to learn that we don't get up and there's something new that we learn. So
Definitely true.
we have it here live. Okay? So here we have a person named Shimon Achi Azariah. Shimon, the brother of Azariah. What's the obvious question?
Who's Azariah? I guess is the question.
Why do we call him with his brother Azariah? We should know who his father is. Who do we care what his brother is?
Right.
So you know who's going to explain that? Rashi. Let's go with Rashi
explains
right
it.
now. Before we get to what he says, this is a whole world of its own. Why is this Tana called Shimon, the brother of Azariah?
Let's see what he says first, or do you want to do the
Let's
Rashi
go to
first?
Rashi first.
Rashi first?
Yeah, let's do that. Shimon Achi Azariah. This is worth its own clip. Shimon, the brother of Azariah. Al Shem Azariah Osak B'Pragmatia. There was a person, his brother Azariah was busy. Pragmatia is business. Buying and selling is called pragmatia. He had a brother named
It's
Azariah.
interesting that we have the word pragmatist, pragmatic in English.
What is it used for in English?
Pragmatic means like
Practical?
pragmatic, like the best way to do things, maybe simplest way to do things. It's like are
Interesting.
you pragmatic or are you gonna like be all over the place? I think it's like something like
All right, so
pragmatic.
maybe do
Be
business-
pragmatic is like
So maybe it's
it's
definitely
like
not so.
tachlis maybe.
So maybe in business,
Pragmatica,
in
wow,
business where we're trying to be tachlis, or maybe.
I wonder if it's an English. Hebrew word or a French word. Where's he getting pragmatica from?
It's an Aramaic word. Rashi's using. I think
It's an Aramaic word?
I think it is in the. Do we
Pragmatic. We use it in English all the time. Be pragmatic.
Do we have
Very
it
funny,
in the
wow.
Gemara pragmatia? Maybe. Yeah, I think it could be.
Ah,
All right, so look it up.
wow.
So his brother Azariah was busy with business. Now, v'sipek tzorchei Shimon, and he was taking care of the needs of Shimon, his brother. B'shah she'oisik b'Torah, the time that he was learning in Torah. Chaim, who is an example in the Torah of two brothers? One of them is learning, and one of them is doing business.
Zebulun and Issachar.
Beautiful.
Two of the sons of Yaakov.
Two is Yisachar and Zvulun, right?
Yes.
While Yisachar is learning, his brother Zvulun is going out to business, and they made a deal, right? Sometimes it's hard to focus on learning when you have to worry about the bills, and sometimes if you worry about the bills, it's very hard to learn.
Right.
So you need to make a partnership.
Yes.
Famous Yisachar Zvulun,
A shituf.
a shotiv.
Shutuf or shituf?
And Chevra,
No, shutuf or shituf?
shotiv is a
Shutuf.
partner.
Shutuf.
Now, Chevra, if you want Chaim, if you like this podcast, if it isn't like it, then it's not for you. But if you like this, for us to be successful, we do need partners. We do need to have people who can help us focus on this because the bills are on the table.
This is a full time job.
Chaim has Baruch Hashem kids in yeshiva.
This is a full-time
So,
job.
If you're out there enjoying this and want to see more of this, we need
Please
to be,
contact us, and you can sponsor an Amud or a
Sponsor,
Daf
right?
or a day of learning or however much you can afford.
So anyway, getting back to because we're learning.
Shimon Achi Azariah and Yisachar Zebulun. Yeah.
Yisachar Zvulun. So here you have such a setup of a Tana who his brother was working and he gets credit. They share the Torah. So every time Shimon is mentioned, he's the brother of Azariah.
Wow.
They're partners. They're partners in business, they're partners in Torah. Partners in Torah, right? So,
Partners in Torah is another wonderful organization, by the way.
yes, all right. So again, and he was taking care of the needs of Shimon, his brother, when he was learning Torah. And they made a deal. There should be a piece of Azariah, B'schar, the reward Talmudai Shel Shimon. So when Azariah comes up after 120, Shimon spent his life learning Torah, and Azariah was busy traveling the world, and he comes up after 120, they say, "Oh, Azariah, you were sitting in the base measures your whole life. You're partners." There's a big machlekes. If he's a half partner, there's enough for both, equal partners. That's it. All machlekes. But he wasn't a partner. Because Amina Besaita, in Yitain Ish, Kohain Beisai, if a person gives all his money, like Shimon Achi Azariah, but not like Shimon, the brother of Azariah, Lefikach Nikral Shemai Shalom and Al Yodai. What that Gemara is discussing is a very interesting concept, because this is a very famous Gemara. Let's say we were to see Chaim Kanievsky. Right? Chaim Kanievsky, can you imagine the amount of Torah that he learned in his life? Sitting and learning.
I had no idea till he passed away.
Right, till he passed. But let's say...
No, I didn't grow up learning who Reb Chaim was, so it wasn't until he passed away that I heard it was the Gadol Ador, and not only did he just learn Gemara all day, he learned Kol Torah Kula, all Torah, and what that meant also.
And he would review Kol Torah Kula every year. So you imagine you have a good investor. You have Jeff Bezos. You got a guy with a lot of money. And he comes to Bnei, he learns this concept that you can make a business deal with a Talmud Chacham. So he comes to Bnei Brak and he sees like Chaim Kanievsky, Kol Torah Kula, doesn't waste the time. He's learning and he's looking to make the best deal. So the best Yisachar Zvulun should be with who? Chaim Kanievsky.
Yeah.
Does that work? Because you know what? Chaim, Chaim might say no, but let's say he would say Chaim needs parnas. He says, you know what? I'm making a deal. I want to have half of your Torah. Then when after you come 120, I want to have half of your Torah. Does that work? The answer is no. You can't make the deal afterwards. You have to make the deal before. You can't buy the Torah afterwards. It's illogical. If you see a Talmud Chacham who has a future star, and you help him learn, and he's only learning because of you bought into his learning. If he learned on his own, and later you want to come and buy it, it's too late. That means...
So it has to be a partnership in the beginning.
So Chaim, what we have to... If somebody wants to invest in our pocket, we can't sell him.
We should call this a Shimon Achia.
We can't sell him. We can't sell him this podcast because this one we did already. We were motivated. But who says we're going to do another one? Who says we're going to do another? If somebody calls says Chaim, I want to give you to do another podcast, then he's able to get a schar into that podcast.
At the beginning, it has to be at the beginning.
Right now, it's a freebie. We have to do it on our own. Right. But if somebody wants to have it, he has to buy the next podcast.
Okay.
This podcast, sorry, it's closed. it's right, Yehuda and Chaim. That's okay. Fine. So interesting. Just as Shimon Achi Azariah, very important Rashi, and that's why he's called Shimon Achi Azariah, because his brother helped him in his learning. But let's see what he says. Now we're going to... So what does he say? He's bringing another Tana Omer. Shachtan l'shem gavaya mehem. If you shechted a carbon for a higher purpose, kosher. So in our introduction, we discussed, Chaim, Karbanis, there are different levels. There's a carbon called a Kodesh Kodashim, a holy of holy. And then there's ones that are holy, different levels. So if an example of a holy is a oila, the reason why an oila is a holy of a holy, because it's going fully on the mizbeach. We're not taking a piece of the action. Also, you can only eat it in the Beis Hamikdash. certain karbanis, we eat part of it, we take it outside the Beis HaMikdash. So let's say I would take a shlamim, and I would say I'm thinking about an oila, something higher. Says Shimon ben Achai, then it's kosher. Then it doesn't ruin the carbon because you thought of a higher carbon. But if you take a higher carbon and you're thinking a downgrade, let's say you're busy with an oila and you're thinking about a shlamim, then he holds it. Oh, it'll ruin the carbon. So forget about now chatas and ajam. Am I thinking, did I lose my mind to something higher, or did I lose it to lower? So let's see it inside, right? So Shimon Achi Azayam Shachton. If I shechted l'shem gavoya mehem for a higher carbon, a better carbon, she'erim is kosher. L'shem namach mehem. But if I go for namach is lower, psulin.